Hey guys, Shushan Midget here. So I'm doing something different today. I'm using my iPhone. I got an iPhone 12, so it has a really nice camera. So we'll see how this does compared to my Contour Roam 3, which is typically too dark for tabletop videos or playing airsoft indoors for that matter. Roam 2, I think is what I said. Roam 3, didn't I? Roam 2 is what that one is. I have a Roam 3 as well, which is a lot better for lighting. So I use that for gameplay. But for some reason on my Roam 3, it seems like I have, when I do a tabletop, there's like a humming in the background. Just like an audio noise that doesn't happen with the Roam 2. But the Roam 2 is too dark, so let's try my iPhone. Anyways, I got another Polymer 80 build today. This is not mine. This one is mine. Glock 19. My lizard's trying to find a spot to sleep, so I'll put you somewhere else. All right, so here's the type of box that it comes in. Again, you have to build it yourself. For those that didn't see the last video that I did, this is mine. I did get a new TLR1 Streamlight flashlight. Awesome, and I also got the Extendo. So this one is a PF940SC. So SC is subcompact. The 940C is the compact, which is the Glock 19. So the SC, can you guess? Glock 26. It is 9mm. If I'm not mistaken, if you build it in a 40, it's considered a different, is it like the Glock 27? To be honest, I'm not sure what the 40 in this size is considered, Glock-wise. The Polymer 80s aren't specified caliber-wise. That's why it says 940, because you can build it in a 9 or a 40. I did not purchase this, build it, or anything. It is in the fam, though, so it will be around. And no, it's not my brother's. He's working on one of his own. So this thing is kind of built around carry. Now, the person that owns this has been struggling, getting old eyes, not being able to see like night sights or 3-dot sights. So he wanted to give a red dot a try. So he ended up doing the Hollow Sun. I actually kind of recommended it. I've always heard good things about him, and this one has shake awake, which is very important for a gun that's stored in your vehicle or on your person. Self-defense, so if you need to use it, you got to draw it, and you want your dot on, and it's on. And I've tested it. It goes off after 10 minutes. I've actually set it like on a dresser for 10 minutes, and I've actually viewed through the glass, and it's off, and then I pick it up real quick, and it turns on. So really nice. I've always been a fan of the Hollow Suns. I have 2 Hollow Sun products on mine. So I'm going to start with the frame. Again, the frame is the P80. Honestly, I don't like the Glock frames as much as I like the P80 frames. I really like the P80 frames for a couple reasons. One of them is the texturing. So this thing has texturing on the front strap, back strap, and the sides, of course. Now, it's almost like a, I don't know, skateboard tape. Some people describe it as. It's a very, it's small, but it's very grippy, and I love it. It's fan-freaking-tastic. As you can see with the Glock 19, it covers more area, of course, and it's just, I love it. I wouldn't change it for anything, because a lot of people will stipple their Glock lowers. I would probably do the same thing, but that's a lot of work. This has no work involved, so P80 did a good job. It's also cut up here a little bit. I don't know how the Glocks compare. I've never held a Glock 26. I have a 19 and 17 and a couple others. But anyways, it is undercut here, and it obviously has the same thing on the Glock 19. All of theirs have this. So you can get your, basically your, it would be your middle finger, because your trigger finger should be over here, or on the trigger if you're ready to, blick up. Magazine-wise, this is a Magpul magazine. Drops straight out when the slide's closed. It should drop straight out when it's open. When you would be empty and actually reload it, it would come right out. Now, the size of the frame is pretty small. You can only get 2-finger contact. Now, the magazine obviously is going to act as a pinky rest, and it works really well. It really does. This is fantastic. You can get all 3 fingers on there. Now, the magazine capacity on these Magpuls are 12, but in my opinion, I'm only going to recommend putting 11 in there basically, plus one in the chamber. So your first mag will have 12, one in the chamber ready to go, and then a mag of 11. The reason why I say that is because these things are uber tight, very tight magazines. I have used them a little bit. Well, the owner, I shot this too. We have shot this a little bit, maybe 300, 400 rounds. And the spring is broken in a little bit, but I'm still going to say 11 rounds in each of these mags because they're very, very tight. Now, these magazines are a fraction of the cost of the Glock. The OEM Glock 26 mags are, I'm going to guess 30, maybe 25 because they're a little bit smaller, but probably more like 30 bucks for one. Whereas these are like $11, $10 maybe. I think they were like 10 bucks. Stupid cheap. They work pretty good. I haven't had any misfeeds or any problems with the mag other than it being tight. Now, these also have plastic feed lips, whereas like Glock OEM mags like this have a steel reinforcement, and then, you know, you can see the reinforcement through the back, but also all the holes to see how much ammo you have. The Magpul has a hole on both sides, which is very smart. Thankfully, Magpul didn't cheap out and just do one side as a hole. It goes all the way through, and it says 12. So right now when I'm looking through it, I can see the orange follower. If I put one more round in there, I would see the brass. So there are 3 of these magazines, since they were pretty cheap. I have also shot this with Glock 19 magazines, the 15 rounders. They fit in just fine. They stick out kind of to like right here, and it allows you to, you know, get your pinky on it just like these mags would. So you could run 15 round mags full stop if you wanted to, even one in the chamber, and get 16. Or you can pop the Super Extendo in here. So on the internals of the frame, it is using a KMT basically kit. It comes with the extended magazine catch. I don't know if you can see that. It sticks out pretty good. And the person that owns this gun is considering changing this out because I've said the same thing. For carry, you don't really want the magazine catch sticking out that far, because if you accidentally hit it, you're dropping your mag. Now, I did have problems with both of these Glocks, P80s, with the frame. So I was having the slide lock back sometimes when it wasn't empty. I thought maybe it was my thumb because, you know, my thumb's right there, and sometimes I kind of hold it up potentially, and I know that was happening a couple times, but it was more than that. Sometimes I was locking back when I don't think my thumb was by it. So I kind of took a look in here, and I noticed that on the inside of the frame on the P80, it's too high. So there's this little spring portion that sits on the bottom of the like loop for the spring on the slide lock, and it hits the plastic frame on the inside when it springs down. So what was happening was it wasn't allowing the spring to do its basically job, keep it held down while the gun cycles. So it was kind of sitting up a little bit. So I did that modification. I got a Dremel and just Dremeled some of that plastic, and it's definitely a lot better. It's not quite hitting that ledge. So definitely more reliable in the long run. Again, just a standard kit in here, trigger shoe, everything in there is stock, takedown lever. Now the frame does have one slot for a flashlight. It won't fit this one, TLR1, so you have to get kind of a compact flashlight. You'll have to look around for one that'll fit, but it has to be really short. So on to the slide itself, he got a AIM Surplus slide. Now this is a DLC paint. I'm not sure what that means at all. I have zero clue. DLC is what they called it. Now this is, it's got to be identical to the OEM Glock slides, Gen 5. So my brother had a Gen 5 and it had this exact same finish. It's almost like a blued finish. It is fantastic. I love the look of it, to be honest. This is very close to a Gen 5 slide. It's got front and rear slide serrations, and it's got the bevel on the front of the slide. Bevel, or a step, I guess you could say, so it's not squared. It's round, shelved off, I guess, so it's not sharp or blocky, like holding a friggin' 2x4. So this is a very good option because it was only 200 bucks, pretty decent, and it was RMR cut, which is really cool. 200 bucks, RMR cut, it was a dang good slide for the price. Now there's no sights, iron sights on here, just using the red dot. It doesn't make any sense to spend the extra money and buy any sights. The spring in here is stainless steel, and I believe it's a 16 pound. I believe the OEM for the Glock 26, it might be 15 pounds, but I think it's 16. So this is 18, it's a little bit heavier. Same thing with this. I run 115, 124 grain Norma, and it cycles just fine with the upgraded spring. Recoil is reduced, especially with my Glock 19. With the full power ammo, 124 grain, it barely kicks. It's freaking awesome. This Glock 26 does kick a little bit more, for sure, and I think part of that's the red dot. I feel like because it's a bigger reciprocating mass. I'm not sure if you can hear the rain out there. It's very heavy rain, so I apologize if you hear it. So the barrel that's in here is an Alpha Wolf. Now this thing is a threaded and fluted barrel. So it's got like flutes in it, I guess you could say. It's pretty cool looking. It was about 160 shipped, I believe, Optics Planet. Seems pretty accurate. I haven't shot this a whole lot. Rifling is very clean, and it's a reputable company. I've heard of them before, and apparently they build good stuff, no doubt. I also did Loctite this cover on because there's no plans to put anything on here. Now, what's really cool about this barrel, it's threaded. That's one cool thing. It is the same length as a Glock 19 barrel. Can you see it there? Yeah, the exact same length. Check that out. So normally a Glock 26 would be shorter. Now, I recommended this barrel to the person that built this for that reason, actually. I told him, I was like, you can get more velocity out of this with the extra inch. It's about an inch extra on this particular barrel. I was like, you can get a little bit more velocity out of that. Plus, if you ever do want to throw, a muzzle brake on there just for some range time to reduce the recoil, maybe make it a little bit more comfortable to shoot at the range, then do it, by all means. So, fantastic barrel for sure. Now, while we're here, I'll go over the sight because that's pretty much the next thing. As you can see there, it's got the plus and minus buttons for the brightness. It is a little bit brighter than it really is on the camera. It's not quite that bright in real life. Obviously, you can change the brightness, though. On the other side, we have the battery tray and then the left to right and up and down setting. And it does have a solar panel. I did put this in manual mode because the solar is pretty poopy unless maybe you're out in the desert or whatever. I don't know. Or worst case, your battery dies and basically solar is a backup, I guess. So it uses a CR1632 battery. It says 50,000 hours of battery life on setting 6. CNC milled 7075 aluminum housing. Comes in a fantastic box, and this was, I think, $240 shipped. I think I got this from Mag Brand Warehouse because I had purchased a mag, and I was like, I'll just get this because Amazon had this for the same price. I could have gotten faster shipping from Amazon, but I was like, you know what, Amazon? Screw you. So the trigger on this is about the same as a stock Glock. It's not exactly the same as like a factory purchased Glock. It's pretty heavy though. Now again, this has only had 300 or 400 rounds, so this, I'd say it still needs some break-in. I'd say 500 rounds to 1,000 is when a Glock trigger will be fully broken in my opinion. But it's decent. It's not awful, but it's a Glock trigger. It's a little heavy, a little bit creepy. Obviously, it's got the trigger safety. That's the only safety. Ammo-wise, for carry, this is going to be used with 124 grain Swiss basically they say it's law enforcement ammo. So maybe their law enforcement over in Switzerland actually uses this exact same stuff. It's imported from Switzerland, and it says on the website literally law enforcement grade. They also have FMJ, which says like military surplus. So I don't know, maybe the FMJ is what they use for the Swiss military, and they also have this hollow point. It's a bonded hollow point, which is a different way to make a bullet. Basically, from what I understand, I believe they make the bullet and then they pour the actual lead inside of it. I could be totally wrong. Go ahead and correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I heard, and I'm not sure if that's correct. So this is the 1 to chamber, and then we got 2 mags with 11 in there. So I think this is going to be kept with 12 in it, and then an extra 11 rounds in the car. So that's pretty much it for this thing. Pretty fantastic. It does kick more than the Glock 19 for sure, and I use the same ammo out of both of them, or have.
Really getting into the habit. I mean, not